Let me just thank Helen for putting this thing together, as well as the local 2407 presidents, co-presidents, Teresa and Paula, for organizing these events this evening. Let me begin by just introducing the candidates that are here with me from our slate. Board of Education candidates Paul Carver, Tony Kane, and Judy Greco, who's on both sides, by the way. Our Common Council candidates, Julie Swan in Ward 2, Jamie Giantonio at large, Mark Bernanke at large, Willie Pabone, Ward 1, and Alphonse, who's right here, Alphonse Wrights in Ward 2, and also a candidate for constable we have with us is Jim Sanders Jr., is up in the back there. And Mary Morocco also here in Ward 1. Thank you all for coming. I always appreciate these opportunities to speak to employees of the city, as I have been the chief negotiator for the city for many years. But I've also enjoyed working in my previous days as a Board of Education member and doing the negotiations with the Paraprofessionals Union a long time ago. I'd like to tell you that much of the benefits that you received today were due to some of the decisions that we had made when we were board members, along with Mr. Perdue behind me here, and several other folks that were on that board. I'd like to think that we corrected some of the inequities that were within our system with respect to paraprofessionals way back when, and you continue to build upon those today. Some of which were, I remember dealing with the issues of paid holidays and school reimbursement issues that are so critical to allow people in your positions to be able to get the education you need to become teachers of the future. But at our annual convocation every single year for district staff, I always make it a point to mention the paraprofessionals and the support staff in our community, because you're the people that impact our children probably more so than many of the people in their lives. And they look up to you, and you provide a valuable asset not only to the school system but to these kids' futures. So you should be commended for the special role that you play in all of these kids' lives, especially, particularly students with special needs. There's nothing more important to the success of today's public schools than a team of paraprofessionals that work side by side with the teachers and administrators to help provide the best educations that we can for our children. Your duties today have changed measurably over the years. You know, I would say that the primary roles of a paraprofessional to assistant a teacher, you basically become teachers at some point during your careers, and you do a fine job at that. But they're extremely complex. You know, the skill set required now for a paraprofessional has changed considerably, where you're dealing with a lot of kids with special needs. And we have an ever-growing population of kids with special needs, and it's a very difficult job. I've known many relatives that have had these jobs, and it takes a very special person to be able to deal with people with significant physical and mental issues. So I thank you. I just want to tell you that some of the support that I have given personally and to the Board of Education over the years, you know, people always say that budgets, the finger always gets pointed back at the city all the time for budget constraints, especially at the Board of Education. And I know your president is here, and she's not going to like what I say here, but you know, the city is required to fund education to a certain level based on state formulas. And we've done that every single year that I've been mayor. In fact, we've overfunded it several times. And the decisions that get made at the Board of Education level are just that. They're their decisions. They're not our decisions. So any impacts that get had on the employee side or the paraprofessional side because of alleged budget cuts on the city are the decisions made by the administration and not the city. So while it's always a constant battle for resources, we wish we could fund every budget at every request, but the requests are always much more than is absolutely required under state law. So we try to do what we can to follow the law and help where we can. And some of the assistance we're able to give outside of the annual appropriation is on the facility side of things. I've made a commitment to make sure that our kids have the absolute best of facilities in this city. This room you're sitting in was an initiative of ours. All of these building projects throughout the city are initiated by me. They have to go through the Common Council and be initiated by the mayor. as a bonded project in the city. We've also added additional facilities here, the ninth grade academy on the back, freshman academy. I've also added the Alternative Behavior Center, which is down on Bignacki Way, to try to ease the burdens of this system, especially here in this school, which is the largest high school in the city, in the state. So I know today's students face many, many more challenges that are much different than they were years ago, and I know you folks are up to the task, and I just want to touch upon some other issues, because I know you're probably one of the only bargaining units in the city that has the highest population of city residents. Many of the folks that live in, that work for the city actually live out of town, but the paraprofessionals is that unique a bargaining unit where the majority of the folks do live here. On the city side, I just wanted to touch on a few things. How much time do I got left? Okay, I'll wrap it up. From a financial perspective, the city hasn't seen a tax increase in 6 years under my administration. We're very proud to be fiscally conservative and been able to hold the line on taxes in this city. As I said, I'm a lifelong resident here in the city. My family's lived here. My kids have gone to this public school system and are both in college. We've addressed many of the issues infrastructure-wise throughout the city over the last several years. Take a look around. There's parks projects being done to address the recreational needs. There's infrastructure projects to make sure that your roads and your streets are safe. We have several other projects that are ongoing in the city. Broad Street is under major renovation. We got Shuttle Meadow. We have Beaver Street project that's on its way, and several others in the future. So I just want to tell you that I've worked collaboratively with Dr. Kurtz over the last several years, making sure that we provide everything that we can to make sure that our kids are successful here in the city. And I thank you for your time, and I'll be free to answer any questions.